It wasn't supposed to happen that way. I wasn't supposed to see it. That's the part that still burns like a slow ember in my chest. It was one of those soft, unhurried Sunday mornings, the kind that feels like the world finally decided to take a breath. The sunlight slipped gently through the curtains, spilling gold across the couch. The faint hum of a song floated from the kitchen, blending with the aroma of coffee and sizzling eggs. That was Lily, barefoot, lost in her own rhythm, wearing my oversized sweatshirt like it belonged to her more than it ever did to me. She was humming, dancing a little, smiling to herself. If anyone had asked me in that moment, I would have sworn I was the luckiest man alive. Then my phone buzzed. A message from a friend lit up the screen. "Bro, you seen this?" Attached was a screenshot. I opened it without thinking, without knowing that what I was about to see would dismantle everything I believed in. It was a post from Lily's private Instagram, the one she only shared with her close friends. In the photo, she was sitting alone on a park bench at sunset, her hair catching the dying light. Her expression was distant, unreadable. The caption beneath it read, "Sometimes you have to break your man's heart to find your own happiness." My stomach twisted so violently I thought I might be sick. I just stared at the screen, the words blurring, refusing to make sense. Lily and I had been together for 4 years, living together for 2. We had just signed a lease on a new apartment last month. We'd been talking about marriage, about the future, about forever. So why did that caption sound like confession? I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to believe there was an innocent explanation. Maybe it was just some quote she saw and reposted. Maybe it meant nothing. I tried to shake it off, but deep down, something in me cracked. Something I couldn't glue back together no matter how hard I tried. That night, she slept soundly beside me, her breath steady, peaceful. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind caught in a storm I couldn't calm. My eyes drifted to her phone on the nightstand. I'd never gone through her phone before. I'd always believed that trust was sacred, that once you cross that line, you could never uncross it. But that caption wouldn't stop echoing in my head. Sometimes you have to break your man's heart. My hands were trembling as I reached for her phone. I knew the passcode. She'd given it to me long ago. When the screen unlocked, guilt hit me first, a sharp sting, like I was the one doing something wrong. But the second I opened her messages, the guilt vanished. There were texts with someone named Eli. The latest message from him read, "You looked stunning last night. I can still smell your perfume on me." Then hers, "Don't say that. You'll make it harder for me to keep pretending everything's fine here." My throat went dry. My heart felt like it was being wrung out. I scrolled further. There were messages, jokes, late-night talks, photos I couldn't bring myself to open. They'd been speaking for months. She'd been meeting him when I thought she was out with friends, sharing with him the same kind of words she once whispered to me. By the time I set her phone back down, I wasn't shaking anymore. I was empty. The next morning, she came into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes, hair messy and tangled. "Morning," she said with that soft smile I used to love. "Coffee?" I looked at her for a long time before answering. "Sure." She poured the way she always did. 2 sugars, just how I liked it. For a second, I almost pretended nothing was wrong. But then I said it. "Who's Eli?" Her hand froze midair. The mug clinked against the counter. "What?" I repeated, calm and even. "Who's Eli?" She blinked fast, eyes darting toward the window. Just a friend." "Why?" "Because he seems to know what perfume you wear." The color drained from her face. "I saw your messages," I said quietly. The silence that followed was suffocating. She opened her mouth, but no words came. When she finally spoke, the first thing out of her lips was, "You went through my phone?" That was what she focused on. Not the cheating. Not the lies. The phone. I laughed, short, bitter, hollow. "That's what you're upset about." She crossed her arms, tears welling up. "I can't believe you'd invade my privacy like that." "Privacy?" I snapped. "You've been sleeping with someone else and posting breakup quotes online. What privacy are you talking about?" Her face crumpled. Guilt, shame, then a flicker of anger. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she whispered. I didn't mean for you to find out yet. Yet, that single word hit harder than any slap. She sat across from me, her eyes glassy. I don't want to hurt you, Jake. You've been amazing to me. You really have. But somewhere along the way, I just stopped feeling the same. I stared at her, disbelief thick in my throat. So instead of talking to me, you decided to fall into bed with someone else? It wasn't like that, she said, her voice cracking. Eli made me feel alive again. I know how awful that sounds, but I felt like I was disappearing here. Like I was living a version of my life that didn't belong to me anymore. My jaw clenched. And what? He fixed that. Tears slid down her cheeks. He understood me. Right, I said coldly, because understanding involves hotel rooms and lying about girls' nights. She flinched but didn't deny it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet break that changed everything. The days that followed felt endless. We barely spoke. She slept on the couch. I went to work and pretended life was normal. Every corner of that apartment felt haunted by her laughter, her perfume, her lies. I thought she'd come to me eventually, apologize, beg for another chance. But she didn't. If anything, she seemed lighter, freer. That was the part that broke me most. The way she carried herself like she'd finally escaped a weight. Like I was the burden. A week later, she packed a suitcase. I'm going to stay with a friend for a while, she said, her voice barely a whisper. Eli, I asked. She didn't answer. I nodded. Take what you need. At the door, she hesitated. You don't have to hate me. I don't, I said. I just don't know who you are anymore. After she left, the silence became unbearable. I tried to fill it. With work, with the gym, with late-night drives to nowhere. But every little thing reminded me of her. The half-empty shampoo bottle in the shower. The lipstick-stained coffee mug. The dent on her side of the couch. One night, I opened her Instagram again. There was a new post. A selfie of her and Eli sitting on the same park bench where we used to feed ducks. Both of them smiling, sunlight on their faces. The caption read, "Sometimes a heart has to choose itself." The comments were full of hearts and encouragement. So proud of you. You deserve to be happy. Finally putting yourself first. I stared at that photo for a long time. I didn't feel rage. I didn't even feel sadness. What I felt was deeper, a strange mourning, like grieving someone who was still alive but no longer the same person. 3 months later, I saw her again. I was at the grocery store, holding a carton of eggs and a 6-pack of beer. She was 2 aisles over, hand in hand with him. Our eyes met. Eli's smile faded when he noticed me. I didn't say a word, just gave a small nod and turned back to the cashier. For the first time, I felt nothing. No jealousy, no pain, just quiet peace. When I got home, I deleted everything. Our photos, our texts, every trace of her existence. Then I opened my social media and typed. Sometimes the person who breaks your heart does you the biggest favor. They show you what love isn't. I didn't tag her. I didn't need to. It's been a year now. People still ask if I've forgiven her. I think forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened. It's about refusing to let it control you anymore. I learned that love isn't proven by how tightly you hold on, but by knowing when to let go. She reached out once, months later. A short message. I hope you're doing okay. I think about you sometimes. I never replied, because sometimes silence says everything that needs to be said. If you had told me back then that I'd survive a betrayal, I wouldn't have believed you. But pain, I've learned, has a strange way of cleansing what doesn't belong. Lily taught me that love built on lies isn't love. It's a slow kind of heartbreak. And that caption she once posted, the one that shattered me, doesn't hurt anymore. Now, when I think about it, I realize she was right all along. Sometimes breaking someone's heart is the only way to find your happiness. She found hers in someone else. And I found mine the day I finally let her go.